Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 17 of the Social Liability Podcast, the only podcast where two middle aged men sit around and complain about those people in our lives that violate the social contract we all agree to live by. I am your host, the Razgrees, with my co host, the Buck Grundle, and we have some very interesting stories this week about people that just can't keep things out of their bodies. I mean, seriously.
You know, call it homeopathic, with
Well,
the exception. I mean, like, well, or DIY. You know,
so remedies for different things have been around since time immemorial, and you get the idea of the snake oil salesman from the old west who would go out and sell some horse piss concoction to try to tell you it's a miracle cure for rickets or something of that nature. And people thought they associated that with the snake oil salesman and the hucksters and everything like that, but that shit still goes on today. I mean, seriously. And that's kind of the idea of our first story today, and that is bleach touted as miracle cure for COVID being sold on Amazon. And this is being reported by The Guardian. Industrial bleach is being sold on Amazon through its product pages, which customers are buying under the mistaken belief that is a miracle cure for COVID-19, despite health warnings from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration that drinking the fluid can kill you. Okay, that's just insane.
I guess that's cutting off the head of the snake in a very permanent and
I mean, yeah,
terrible way.
if you're dead, COVID's not going to kill you.
You know, it's like the guy who gives you the life vest. If you can't breathe, you can't drown. Put it on tight. It's like, you know what? If you can't get sick, you know.
I've never heard if you can't breathe, you can't drown.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, some whitewater rafting tour guide told us that when I was a kid, and it just stuck with me because I thought it was hilarious. I was like, this is a very valid and realistic point. For if you cannot breathe, you actually cannot drown. This is very true. I will listen to this man and everything else he says. It was a great trip, and you know what? It was a great trip.
Well, on the plus side, you didn't drown.
And he didn't tell me to drink fucking bleach either.
Well, the chlorine dioxide solutions are being sold on Amazon platform under the brand name CD Kit and Natrachlor. I can't pronounce it, but for those of you that don't know, chlorine dioxide is bleach. Third-party sellers signal the bleach as a water treatment and include legal disclaimers that the liquid is not marketed for internal use. That's kind of the same idea as the remember when the what we call it, spice, the fake marijuana was making a big push through.
Yeah,
And it would say it was being marketed as incense, but it actually said on there, not for internal use or not for smoking or something like that.
but see, yeah, that is kind of relevant, but I would compare the do not drink bleach warning more to like directions on a shampoo bottle. Like they have to be there because in the back of your head you gotta say it. Common sense is not common knowledge. And still. So go ahead and read through the article, man. If unless it's over, because I just got to see where this train wreck
Oh no, it
ends.
continues on. But comments from Amazon customers under the review section of the pages tell a different story. Users discuss how many drops of bleach they are imbibing and explain that they are drinking the chemical, what they can call MMS, to disinfect ourselves. A phrase that echoes Donald Trump's controversial remarks in April that injections of the disinfectant could cure COVID-19. He didn't actually say that, but it's still funny. One purchaser writing in Spanish said his family had started taking bleach soon after the coronavirus epidemic hit the U.S. Many people still don't believe in it, but I am sure that it has helped us a lot, he said.
That's called being proactive, dude. That's all that is, man. I can't even.
Another another Amazon customer wrote, "My mom, who is 77, got COVID, and had a whole body ache, stomach upset." This is like horrible English. Very extreme headache, fatigue. ... Well, she started taking MMS, and not kidding you, she has practically half better the next day, and the day after she was totally good. I mean, just the way it's written should tell you the caliber of customer that they have here.
No, man.
The bleach is being...
You know what? I think that's a part of a conspiracy, man. Like, I think somebody's just like behind a keyboard acting to be like a boob or some shit like that.
Well, no
but they're
shit,
like,
Kung
man.
Fu.
I mean, like, seriously, dude.
No shit. The bleach is being sold on Amazon Marketplace. It's typically used in industrial purposes, including textile manufacturers and the bleaching of pulp and paper. In small doses, it can be useful to disinfect water, but the concentration being advocated by pushers of MMS, Miracle Mineral Solution, are well above safety levels. You know, it's my great uncle has a cabin in northern Pennsylvania, and we went up there and stayed, and he was showing us around how to take care of everything, because it wasn't the cabin I thought we were going to. I thought we were going to this one that was like pretty much just a shack in the woods, but he ended up buying a mountain. He bought a fucking mountain. It was a strip mine. He bought it, and he built a cabin up there, and then they found out there was natural gas. So they had the gas company run a pipe up to the house as part of their selling them the mining rights. And everything in the house then was run off natural gas. There was a natural gas generator, natural gas refrigerator, natural gas stove, you name it. But it also meant that the water wasn't exactly safe to drink from the well. So one of the things you had to do is go out there every 2 weeks with a thing of bleach and pour it into the well. And suffice it to say, we went back into town and bought several cases of bottled water because I wasn't drinking that shit.
Man.
But there is, you can disinfect water with a very, very small amount of bleach and drink it safely, quote unquote. I don't know the ratio. You'd have to get the CDC on that one. But yeah, that's not what this is, unfortunately. Proponents of MMS falsely claim that it is a cure-all for almost all diseases, including malaria, HIV/AIDS, cancer, and now COVID-19. They also market it untruthfully as a cure for the condition of autism.
That's bold.
So do you want to do a first experiment for the Social Liability podcast to find out if bleach cures MS?
You know, I've often said that I don't even care if it's got a skull and crossbones on the label at this point in time, but that's not even crazy or reckless. That's just insane. Like, so I'm gonna go ahead and go a hard pass on that one. Yeah.
Since the start of the pandemic, the FDA has been trying to clamp down on fraudulent dealers of quack remedies, claiming to protect against the virus. Late August, the agency issued a strong health warning that MMS bleach products could be life-threatening. No shit! The American Association of Poison Control Centers has recorded more than 16,000 cases of chlorine dioxide poisoning, including 2,500 cases of children under the age of 12. Many of these individuals suffer serious side effects. The group noted included a 6-year-old autistic girl who 3 years ago required hospital treatment for liver failure. I understand, I truly do understand. You don't want your kid to be afflicted with anything, and you may be grasping at straws, but if you are so fucking stupid that you are giving your child bleach, something tells me you probably shouldn't be freaking breeding to begin with.
Yeah, that's a real flat earther right there, man. I mean, like, whoa. That is wrong on so many levels. You know, that giving your kid bleach.
I mean, I understand desperation, and you don't want your child to suffer from anything, but hey, this is a great idea. This thing that says poison on the side of it that's in the cupboard, I'm going to buy it from somebody else, and as long as they don't put that label on there, it must be good. Insanity. Several deaths of people drinking blah. Several deaths of people drinking bleach marketed as a miracle cure have been reported across South America as well, including in Argentina, where a 5-year-old boy was reported to have died in August after being given chlorine dioxide as a COVID cure. In the past, Amazon has removed from its platform several pro-MMS books, including those by the founder of the movement, Jim Humble. That's a fake name. He claimed to have discovered that chlorine dioxide cures malaria when on a gold mining expedition in Ghana in 1996. Sure you did, buddy. You notice they always find it in the jungle. Where in this case, like I found it in the jungles of Ghana. Where bleach naturally occurs.
I found all sorts of shit in the jungle. I really did. Truth be told, man, I've seen an ant with eyeballs, all sorts of like crazy kooky shit that exists in the jungle, but never once.
Did you ever see a bottle of Clorox growing off a bush?
You know what? I've heard tales.
Okay. Going out to the Clorox bush, folks.
You know what? I mean, like, they even got it in the Mayan temples down there, dude.
Amazon.
I mean, like, it is clearly a glyph that says Clorox. It is amazing. It's uncanny. You should see it. It's right next to the Mayan calendar.
Amazon promised in March to crack down on product listings that cash in on false remedies for COVID-19, but third-party sellers are still finding ways to peddle potentially dangerous products on the site. Amazon did not immediately respond to the Guardian's questions about the sale of bleach on its platform. Fiona O'Leary, a campaigner against MMS based in Ireland, said that she was shocked and heartbroken that Amazon is still selling this product. The FDA is prosecuting producers of bleach but now we have Amazon selling it. How can this be happening? The CD kit and other products currently on sale through Amazon are made by KVLAB, which is linked to Kiwi's Corner, an online shop based in Lake Placid, Florida. In a business listing, Kiwi's Corner described itself as specialized in chlorine dioxide products for consumer use.
Right out of Wuhan, China.
In an email to The Guardian, the owner of Kiwi's Corner, Steve Party? Yeah, sure, let's go with that. Said that he began selling the product for cleaning dog kennels and equine use. He denied ever claiming that chlorine dioxide is a cure and stressed that he had nothing to do with third-party sellers touting his wares on Amazon. I have never advocated human consumption. My listings are for these items include links to FDA warnings since 2013. Documents show that Purdy was an active on the MMS forums online community and advocated bleach as a miracle cure as recently as last year. In 2012, he was involved in preparing an approved list of MMS suppliers and said in one post, "I started making MMS in 2008. Purdy told The Guardian that back in 2012, he had offered safety and technical advice to a forum run by Genesis 2, a one-time leading provider of bleach miracle cures in the U.S., run by the something family. Mark something, the head of the family, said his son Joseph was arrested and charged by the FDA last month in Colombia, and they are awaiting extradition to the U.S., while 2 other sons are facing jail similar charges in Florida. Oh my Lord.
Sounds like somebody tried to improve on this Kool-Aid thing that happened back in the day, Like, you know what? We're going to use the internet. We're going to call it bleach. We're going to say it's healthy. No cult, no nothing. They'll just pay for the bleach. We'll make our money and then run. Jim Jones will roll over in his grave.
I think Jim Jones used cyanide, but still.
Well, I think it was cyanide in the Kool-Aid.
It was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're trying to improve upon the Kool-Aid idea. They're like, yeah, we'll call it healthy shit.
And it really does go on, but I don't see the point in discussing this guy's name any further. But people like this just need to be expunged. In all seriousness, just get them off the planet.
Honestly, I can't disagree with your point there. or you're not your point, but your thought. There are just some instances where people just really lose their right to be here anymore. And when you start capitalizing on people's fear and now they're giving this shit to their kids, like that's your fault, bro. Like you've lost your right to be here. And he should be expunged. That's or maybe not him per se, but like whoever's behind of it. Yeah, I'm not going to speculate on that. But if somebody does that kind of sinister shit, they just don't deserve to be here anymore and need to be erased.
Yeah, I mean, we've always had this type of thing happen, but typically when they made these fake miracle cures, it's something innocuous. It's not really going to cause any harm. Now, granted, those people are still fraudsters. They're still preying on people, and I think they should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. But when you have somebody who is knowingly selling poison, saying, "Here, take this, you'll love it," fuck you.
Yeah, that's no longer prosecutable. That is
that's a lynch mob. That's what you need right there.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
Okay. So that takes care of that. But let's move on to another story. This is being reported by the Insider. An elementary school teacher asks parents to wear clothes and avoid appearing with big joints in the back room of Zoom classes. Okay. I've actually gotten to the point now with my kids' classes that I am legitimately keeping hats around the house for the days that I don't take a shower when I first wake up in the morning. And if I have to be on a Zoom camera, I can throw a hat on real quick, just like today, because it is 10 a.m. on a Saturday when Buck says, "Hey, let's record." And I'm like, okay, guess we can do that. But I'm doing the same thing with my kids' classes because they're both doing the virtual thing this year. And it's actually going very well, with the exception is every once in a while I have to appear on camera, and I'm doing it for work anyway. But regardless, as families adjust to virtual learning and remote school days amid the pandemic, one teacher is issuing a stern reminder to parents about their on-camera behavior. And I will point out that this is a Florida teacher, so this does fulfill our requirement for the Social Liability podcast to have the Florida Man episode. So with that, let's play the theme.
Florida man, does whatever the fuck he can. Makes headlines every time. Florida's paradigm. Look out! Here comes Florida Man.
Indeed, here comes the Florida Man. In this case, a lot of them, apparently. So in a videotaped school board meeting on Wednesday, Edith Pride, an elementary school teacher in Boca Raton, Florida, spoke up about incidents she witnessed while teaching via video conference. Parents, please make sure that you have on proper clothing when you walk in front or behind your children's computer. Because we've seen them in their drawers, their bras, and everything else. These are the same people that never close their blinds. She also reminded parents that all students on video call can hear parents' discussion in the background of the lesson if the computer is unmuted. So many have been exposed to cursing and inappropriate language. Please, Pride's final plea to parents even drew laughs from the audience. When you're helping your children on a computer, please do not appear with big joints in your hand and cigarettes. Oh, geez. Okay, so one, it can be funny, but at the same time, these people are sitting around their kids doing drugs. I mean, does that necessitate a call to CPS?
Well,
come on,
in
let's
that
hear.
particular, it's just. I'm sorry. There's a lot of thoughts going through my head on this one because I'm very conflicted on my views for this. But if you're, if you're going to be that stupid and irresponsible about it, yeah, I would say.
Well,
because
okay,
your business is your business.
Let's examine this for a minute. So you're saying you're conflicted, but I don't think you actually are. Do you use marijuana for your health conditions?
Of course, yes.
Are your health conditions legit? Yes, we know they are.
Yes, they are.
Do you do it with your kids in the room?
No.
So if your kid calls and says, "Dad, I'm having a problem with my computer," one, we know you're not going anyway because you don't know shit about computers. But let's just say you did. Are you going to go, wheeling into the other room with a pipe hanging out of your mouth? Are you going to say, "In a minute, sweetie"?
No, I would walk, because in this alternate reality that you're creating, where I know something about computers, I'm going to go ahead and say that I can walk too. But I would walk into the room without my paraphernalia in hand.
Exactly. Some other teachers in the school district reported instances of alcohol consumption and drug use taking place on camera in students' homes. How are people this stupid? We had a father, no shirt, drinking a beer at 11:45 in the morning, one Palm Beach teacher continued. He chose to remain anonymous. Parents are smoking. Parents are smoking. Parents are smoking marijuana. I mean, I really don't care if people do that, but you shouldn't be doing that in the screen. You shouldn't be doing it. You shouldn't be in the screen doing that. That doesn't make any sense. But you shouldn't be on screen doing that, is what they're trying to say. It is just inappropriate. The children can see it in their squares. Pride told Fox News of parents' behavior and added that she even saw parents producing joints as big as cigars in the background of their children's remote lessons. This is not a party. This is school. Palm Beach schools will reopen its doors to students on Monday, but parents can choose their children to continue with their virtual learning model. The school district of Palm Beach did not immediately respond to the insider's request for comment.
Yeah, I would see, again, I'm very positive and try to take the silver lining on every cloud. And at least this, in my mind, this would at least bolster class participation and attention.
Oh, yeah, because the kids are going to be like, "Ooh, look what they're going to do next."
Exactly. Like, you know what? Yeah, you want them to be there for the learning, but if they're there for the show instead, they're going to have to retain something. It's like, the blind squirrel's going to get a nut.
It's just, it is kind of sad, though, that people are just, they have that that level of, I'm just going to do this in front of my kids because I don't care, and then it's the same argument we would run into people when they were in prison, and they would say something along the lines of, "Well, I don't think marijuana should be illegal." Well, you can think all you want. Until you get the law changed, it is illegal. So that's why you're here. Well, I don't think it should be. I don't give a shit what you think. Okay? Get enough people that think the same way you do and go get the legislature to change the law, but then by all means. But until then, it is illegal, folks.
Yeah. You know what? I had a really good way to shut down those conversations.
Go on.
Because they would go, "Oh, I'm not guilty. I'm not guilty." I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's just get the elephant out of the room here. You are guilty as shit. Maybe not of the crime that you are committed of. You may or may not have robbed the bank. I'm not going to speculate, and that's none of my business. But I will say this: you are definitely a shit decision maker. And you are guilty of making some really bad decisions. And if you want to argue with that, then go ahead and walk on out of here. Because you wouldn't be standing in front of me having this conversation had you made some better decisions. And I'm not saying like, oh, blah, blah, you should change your life. No. Maybe you should have zigged when you should have zagged. Yeah, who knows?
That's not to say that everyone in jail is a horrible person. We've both encountered individuals that I've looked at them and going, "Why the hell are you here?" And
it's bad decisions, man.
Well, not always, not always. And I can point out one individual. I do not remember the guy's name, but when I first started, you were there about 6 months before I was, and this guy was the cook for the COs. This guy,
I know exactly who you're talking about.
So he was working a job. He was divorced. His wife had custody. He was paying child support, and the factory he worked in, where he had worked for like ever, closed down. Where he was making like $40 an hour, and he immediately got another job, but he was only making like $25 an hour. And
yeah, I remember that.
And they refused to lower his child support, which was an astronomical number to begin with, and he got behind, so they put him in jail. Okay, so now he's in jail. He serves like 3 months, gets out, and immediately gets another job, but now he's a convicted criminal. So he's only making like $15 an hour.
I was about ready to say I thought it was something like 17.
It just kept going
Yeah.
like that, and the stupid decisions were, well, let's put him back in jail, because that'll fucking help. I mean,
Yeah, see, that is an exception to my bad decisions making. Yeah, I'll go ahead and concede on that one.
and there are people that are just stupid, and they end up something because something was completely innocuous they did, and it was dumb, it was whatever, but here they are. But those are far and in between. Most of the times, yes, you may not have done what you were convicted of, but you done something.
Right. Like maybe you shouldn't have left the keys in the car that you were going to get away in, and it wouldn't have gotten stolen, and then you wouldn't have gotten caught. Like that is a bad decision that you made that caused your ultimate demise.
Well, it's I kind of like equate it to the people that you find them slumped over in their car, passed out drunk, and their whole argument in court is, well, I shouldn't have got the DUI because I wasn't driving. You were trying to, shitbag. You just fell asleep before you got there. You had intent. That's all they need.
Right. Well, even if isn't it something like even if your keys are in the ignition?
It actually varies from state to state. In some states, is if you're in the car, period. That's it. End of story. In some states, the keys have to be in the vehicle, and in some cases, the keys actually have to be in the ignition. It depends on which state you're in. My personal belief is if the key,
Stay out of the freaking car.
Stay out of the freaking car. Now that's not to say that if some person's really drunk and they say I'm not driving home, and I have nowhere else to go, so I'm just gonna crawl in the back seat and go to sleep. I think the officer needs to have a little bit of fucking discretion in that mind, saying, yeah, this guy is trying to do the right thing, instead of you being a shitbag and saying, well, I'm not gonna fuck with this guy tonight.
Yeah, if you're sleeping in the back seat, that's one thing, but in the front driver's seat of the car, you're really not doing anybody, including yourself, any favors as far as benefit of the doubt goes.
Yeah. So, but we could debate that stuff into oblivion. There's people going to be on both sides of that. Let's move on to the main event of the show. TikTok Benadryl challenge prompts FDA warning on overdoses. We're back to Tide Pods, man. We're back to fucking Tide Pods again. The Food and Drug Administration is warning of serious problems tied to overdoses of a popular allergy medication sparked by one of the latest challenges on social media. Oh my lord! So if your children have smartphones, you're failing them to begin with. That being said, my kids do have phones, but for very specific reasons that I'm not going to go into. Their phones, however, are completely locked down. They cannot put apps on their phones. And if you're allowing your children to get social media apps before they're able to make decisions, such as, maybe this guy eating a Tide Pod is an idiot, then you're failing them as a parent. A so-called Benadryl challenge on TikTok is occurring among teens. The FDA said in a statement posted on its website Thursday, citing reports of teenagers landing in emergency rooms or dying. The challenge encourages TikTok audiences to take high doses of the over-the-counter allergy medication in order to induce hallucinations, according to an article by Healthline. Yeah, that's great. Let's get high, kids. Kids are always going to experiment with drugs, but you're actually encouraging them to overdose in this situation. We are investigating these reports and conducting a review to determine if additional cases have been reported. Well, of course they have. Just people aren't going to say, oh, I was a dumbass and did what someone told me to on a video. A TikTok spokesperson told CBS Money Watch in an email that the company does not allow content that encourages, promotes, or glorifies dangerous challenges that might lead to injury. Yeah, sure they don't. That's why they show the promoted hashtags and everything. The Chinese-owned social media company has not seen the Benadryl content trend on its platform, according to the TikTok spokesperson. Bullshit. We're actively removing content that violates our guidelines and block related hashtags to further discourage participation. But here we are writing a story about it so more people will hear about it.
Yep.
Seriously, we're gonna scold you for not doing this, but we're gonna do it, and it's okay because we're just getting the news out.
It's called journalism.
Yeah, it's called sensationalism. The challenge first cropped up on the healthcare officials' radar in May when 3 teenagers were hospitalized in Fort Worth, Texas, after overdosing on Benadryl. One of the teens, a 14-year-old, reportedly took 14 of the allergy pills.
Whoa.
Yeah, Benadryl will knock your ass out, which is like 1 or 2.
I'm going to go ahead and throw somebody under the bus here. But back in the 80s, when we were growing up, there were 10 kids in my family, and so my mother used to give us Benadryl with Coke.
People did that with NyQuil, and now there is a legitimate NyQuil that has the medication part taken out of it. That's for like the congestion and everything, and they're selling it as a sleep aid because NyQuil will render you unconscious.
My mother used to drug the shit out of us, and you know what? I mean, like people are like, "Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's terrible." I'm like, you know what? You have no idea what we were like. You have no idea. My mother should have just like, thank God she was good enough to us to use Benadryl instead of just like a ball peen hammer. Like we were shitbag kids. I mean, like, so my mother would drug us Benadryl.
Jeez. Each of these patients said they got the idea from videos on TikTok that claim users could get high and hallucinate if they took a dozen or more of the allergy pills. In Oklahoma City, a local news report last month of the death of a 15-year-old girl from an overdose of Benadryl also blamed on the social media challenge. Benadryl contains
diphenylhydramine.
Yeah. Diphenylhydramine and...
I don't know.
Well, it temporarily relieves symptoms caused by hay fever, upper respiratory issues, allergies, and the common cold, such as a runny nose and sneezing. According to the FDA, say it. It's the ingredient again. You say it. According to the FDA,
diphenylhydramine
is safe and effective for the use as recommended, but higher doses can cause serious heart troubles, seizures, coma, and even death. Johnson & Johnson.
Diphenylhydramine.
We're not there yet. The Johnson & Johnson unit that makes Benadryl cautioned on its Benadryl website that abuse and
diphenylhydramine.
No, we don't need that anymore. We're done. We're done here. A website that abuse or misuse.
Diphenylhydramine.
Okay, we're done here. I'm done reading. But do you remember this shit with the Tide Pods? It was the same thing. I mean, it's the same damn thing. Hey, this looks like candy, so I'm going to eat it. Look at me, I'm funny. Blah.
Tide Pods are not diphenylhydramine, dude.
Nevertheless.
I'm just...
Okay, what's
what's great is that I can sit here and shamelessly laugh at my own jokes, or laugh at my own attempts at being funny, and I just crack myself up.
You really do.
I really do.
What's the active ingredient in pepper spray?
Oleoresin capsicum.
There you go. And what is the now granted we stole it from the Man Show, but what was the big joke for the petition we started to ban a certain chemical?
Dihydrogen monoxide.
Also known as
H2O.
Water. But nevertheless, most people can't pronounce them. Buck can. I can say dihydrogen monoxide. I can also say oleoresin capsicum.
I can only say diphenylhydramine because I get it prescribed to me when I go and get like certain medical things done, and I have bad reactions to them.
So like weekly?
No. I'm the healthiest sick guy there is. Like, I get infusions once a year, and that's it. But but when I do get those infusions, I get bad reactions. So they give me Benadryl when I'm in the infusion center, and I hear quite regularly during that week, diphenylhydramine, 25 milligrams. Oh no, he's got red spots all over his chest. Give him 50 milligrams. I'm like, yeah, give me 50 milligrams. That way I don't have to hear your shit and I can just go to sleep.
Yeah. I worked for a transport company for a long, no, not a long time, but a long time ago. And one of the big things we did was transport people for dialysis and transfusions. And it was kind of funny to always see the way they had, like, they knew they were going to be there all day and they knew it was going to suck. So they always have like a suitcase full of shit to do. And some of them be like, just, they'd have like a bunch of blankets. Other ones would have video games. Some of them have televisions. It's just amazing. People are like, well, I know I'm living in that fucking chair for the next 6 hours, so I'm going to enjoy myself.
Oh man, I bought this this iPad stand that like clamps onto like your bedpost or whatever, and you're supposed to be able to like hold your iPad on it so that way you can be a lazy shit and not hold your freaking device.
I want one of those for my car.
Yeah, you know what, dude? I got one for my chair.
Is that really? Do you like get your devices on whether they can attach to your chair or not?
I really do. This is like my mobile command center, dude.
Do you remember that every time that we'd see a new police officer or a new corrections officer, you could always tell how new someone is by looking at their belt.
Yep, shinier the belt, the newer the guy.
Well, the more shit that's on it.
Oh yeah, man. People would load up. I'd be like, no, I used to be like that too. And then I realized that all that shit is heavy.
One of my favorite things to do was if they ever took their belt off to go to the bathroom or something, I would stick a stapler on it. No, I'd stick a stapler on it. I'd take a black stapler and slide it down over top and see how long they wore the stapler before they realized.
You know what? The officer, I'm not going to say his name because you know what? At heart, he was probably a decent human being. I'm pretty sure I saw him eat him in the break room one day. But either way, he knocked over a vending machine.
Oh God, he didn't knock it over.
Well, he knocked it over and went right through it. But either way, when he would go on break and leave his duty belt, okay, now this only happened in Control. Because anywhere else, that man was like married to his duty belt. But in Control, he would take it off. And when he would go into that bathroom, the very few times I was posted with him, I would change all the shit calibrated on his belt. Oh, man. And he would just get furious. And you know what, though? He was very, like, concrete about stuff. And I'd look at him and I'd be like, if you can't prove that I did it, you can't yell at me. It could have been anybody. And he's like, but it had to have been you, Lynch. It had to have been you. I'm like, no. You know, I know what it seems like, but, 3 people walked in and out of here since you've been in the head. Could have been any one of them. I'm not snitching. And he would just get so upset.
That man beat up and killed a vending machine, dude.
Yes, he did.
And it was about Swedish fish. And then for the rest of his career, people were always sticking bags of Swedish fish in his mailbox.
You know what? He was so intimidating to me when I started. And then that happened, and I was like, nope. Like I've had bullies before, my friend. I am a connoisseur in bullies. And you, sir, are like the Diet Coke of bullies. I will no longer, like, bow to your whim. Like, get away from me.
So we've determined that you shouldn't put too much of any over-the-counter medication in you. You shouldn't take household cleaners and put them in you, and you shouldn't be doing drugs in front of your children. That's the takeaway of today's episode. If you learned nothing else today, please learn that. And with that being said, I think that's all we have for this week. This has been the Social Liability Podcast. You can find us on most podcasting platforms such as Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Castbox, Radio Public, and you can even watch the video version on our YouTube channel. Just search for the Mount Moon Crew or Social Liability Podcast. You'll be able to find us either way.
Diphenylhydramine.
I will point out, however, that the podcast is free on all those platforms. There's not even any ads on here right now, folks. This is just us talking. The only thing we ask is that you pay attention.
Pay attention.
And tell a friend. That's all I really care about. Just tell a friend. Say, dude, there's this awesome podcast. You should totally listen to it.
I agree. I mean, like, you can use whatever voice you want to, but just as long as the message gets out there. I always thought that using like nice stationery.
Well,
But
we should send out like notes, handwritten notes.
hey, man, when I worked in insurance, that raised lettering and those watermarks, yeah, they were something special. They garnished some business, especially if you got them written in the fonts on the computer that looked like somebody wrote them in cursive. That was good. We should do that. We'll get more listeners that way, I'm sure.
My kids are learning cursive right now, and I'm shocked they're still teaching it. But nevertheless, this has been the Social Liability Podcast. We'll see you next week. Everyone, have yourself a delightful week, and don't be a liability to those around you.